This week, we talk, but can your voice reveal what's wrong with you? Can this helmet hear you? And would you all please stop shouting? Alexa, what are the Amazon spheres?
The Amazon spheres are 3 spherical conservatories on the headquarters campus of Amazon in Seattle, Washington.
They are an unusual place to work, I have to say. The domes house 40,000 plants. They also have waterfalls, meeting spaces, and shops. They're slightly tropical, quite moist, and give you a real sense that you're working in the future. I mean, who'd have thought in the middle of Seattle there'd be a rainforest? An Amazon rainforest. Say Amazon, think what? Jungle? Online shopping? Or do you think of Alexa? This is, after all, the company that's brought voice control to the masses.
There's no training required for using voice. The vision for voice is that anyone, young, old, in any country, in any context, can use natural language to interact with technology.
You can tell me to play music, create a list, set reminders, or look up a topic on Wikipedia.
Alexa is only going to be as successful as the partners are that support it.
And that's why voice is the next battleground for the tech supergiants. The more voice apps there are, and the more comfortable we are talking to them, the more they will integrate themselves into our lives. Just this week, in fact, Alexa's voice has started sounding more human. Developers have used artificial intelligence techniques to learn from news broadcasts how to intone and emphasize words in a sentence.
American brides are continually looking for ways to personalize their wedding to reflect their own style.
Now, as a human being, you'll know that you can tell quite a lot from someone's voice, not just what they mean, but also how they're feeling and possibly whether they're ill. Now, that's obviously really hard for a computer to do, but Nick Queck has been looking at some technology that is working towards just that.
I've come to Tel Aviv, Israel to see a doctor with a difference. No cold stethoscope, but I do need to say ah, as well as make a bunch of other sounds.
It's an early decay of the voice.
Today, Dr. Levinan is going to give me my medical purely by listening to the way I talk.
Otherwise, sitting I know unverbal what my state of health is.
He's a firm believer that it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Je t'aime, wo אני in Chinese, or in Hebrew, אני אוהב אותך. It's all of that are ways of expressing love. And if I like that and I commanding you, it's the same in all the languages.
He's not a doctor of medicine, but of research he's been working on for over 24 years, which has culminated in a new piece of software.
It's a Tuesday morning. We've got to catch a flight later back to London.
By analysing my vocal intonation, Dr. Levinan says his algorithm can infer my mood, attitude and personality.
You are ambitious, you are curious, a little bit adventurous and a little bit conservative. It's something in between. And
I feel like I'm getting my palm read by a sidekick.
And the graph is saying, oh, you are very tired.
I am very tired.
But the reason I'm here is for something far more important, because Dr. Levinan says his system can also be used to diagnose whether I have a disease, and even how bad it is just by listening to my voice.
We can show the early signs of Parkinson, heart problem, autistic children, early signs of prostate cancer.
He's comparing the audio wave patterns of someone's voice against an archive of recordings of people with known illnesses.
How are you analysing the wave patterns?
So you can see that there is a weakness in this area of frequencies. You can see the same crater, but also vibration here. These are the signs of ill person, and you can see decay of the voice, deterioration. He is ill, tired, can't express himself well. If you combine all the signs together, we can see how severe is his problem and what is his health problem.
Apparently, the system is 75% accurate and can tell you the severity of your condition. If for real, integrating the tech into listening devices could change the way we interact with our gadgets.
Further down the road with our technology, these machines would also be able to tell, hey, something is different with your health condition. Maybe you want to go and do another checkup. Maybe it will let my doctor know about this. So from the voice, there is so much information that can be gained that we're just at the beginning.
Okay, reality check time, because as amazing as this sounds, you might be thinking this is all too good to be true. But the thing is, voice is already used to diagnose certain conditions, and medical professionals do see that this could have more potential. In London, I went to meet Dr. Nidjar, a consultant cardiologist at Hammersmith Hospital and honorary senior lecturer at Imperial College London.
Well, there's no doubt that doctors use a patient's voice as a way of diagnosing certain conditions. And there are neurological conditions like motor neuron disease or Parkinson's that have characteristic changes to the voice to help us make a diagnosis.
But whatever voice's potential, to date, Beyond Verbal has had only one paper published in conjunction with the US-based Mayo Clinic investigating the connection between voice and coronary artery disease.
What this study has done is attempted to make a diagnosis of coronary artery disease using the voice alone. This is a completely new avenue, and I would say that the technology at present needs a lot more work. The study that's been published doesn't give us definitive proof that this technology can make that diagnosis. The study's been performed in a highly enriched and highly selected group of patients. And actually, I would say the capacity of voice to be able to detect the severity of an individual lesion, as they've proposed, is a little far-fetched.
California-based telemedicine startup SaluberMD has begun incorporating Beyond Verbal's mood analysing system into its GP appointment app.
1 second, bear with me while I bring up your data here.
Whilst remote doctors listen to problems over video call, the software can inform them about their patient's emotional state.
How accurate is Beyond Verbal around the mood? Very. How is accurate regarding the acute coronary syndrome? We don't know yet. At present, there is a very good feel around it, but I, as a doctor, cannot trust a feel. I need to trust real correlation or real demonstration.
Beyond Verbal isn't the only business claiming to understand our health via our voice. Healthy Mice, Sonde Health, Peak Profiling, and even IBM are just some researching the connection between voice patterns and disease.
We believe that we are better than 75% in many diseases. However, it's still not enough to say that's it. It's still enough to say alert, take care of yourself, go to the doctor, make other checks.
Having potentially inaccurate health warnings at our fingertips could come with repercussions. And do we want the tech giants to know so much about us?
The problem with anything that's predicting a disease process is that it can be wrong, or its sensitivity is not high enough, or it's not specific. So it will often make diagnoses when there isn't that particular problem, or it'll overdiagnose problems that don't need any investigation. So that would be a concern to me as a doctor, that we end up testing too many people. And it would also be a concern for patients, because they may end up being told they've got a problem when actually there isn't that concern.
Further trials are being conducted in Israel, China, and soon the UK. And whilst it might be simply sci-fi, the idea of Alexa in the future alerting me about my health is at once appealing, yet unsettling.
Hello and welcome to the Week in Tech. This was the week that the world came together for a truly noble cause. Yes, it's my great honour to officially confirm that this stock photo of an egg is now the most liked Instagram photo ever. Truly inspiring. In non-egg news, Orange Shirt Kid joined the list of people accusing video game Fortnite of allegedly stealing dance moves. And the Chinese Space Agency shared images of the first seed to sprout on the moon. YouTube has said it will now ban clips of dangerous and harmful pranks from the platform. The change comes in response to so-called challenge videos, that in some cases have resulted in injuries or even death. Following through with the change might be difficult though, with critics arguing it could be hard to decide where to draw the line on what constitutes dangerous. Time to make room on the bedside table for yet another essential gadget. Sportswear company Nike has unveiled the latest incarnation of its self-lacing smart shoe. Controlled by an app, the $350 trainers adapt to your foot with a range of lace tensions. And if you're worried about getting stuck in them, no fear. The company says the battery will last at least 10 days. And finally, spare a thought for the robots of Henna Hotel this week, some of whom are looking for work. In a twist to the classic tale, Japan's iconic robot hotel has had to lay off half of its 243-strong robotic workforce. Velociraptor receptionist is gone, as well as dozens of the in-room assistant Cheery. As well as maintenance issues, Cheery kept on waking people up at night, mistaking snores for questions, and Velociraptor receptionist couldn't handle foreign guests.
And now we're going to go back in time to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas from last week, where voice was a massive deal. And we asked Laura Lewington and Richard Taylor to check out the big talk at the show.
It's only taken a few years for voice-activated smart assistants to become an integral part of every self-respecting techie's lifestyle.
Amazon's Alexa started out as a small self-contained box 4 years ago. Today, it's enjoyed a phoenix-like rise, compatible with over 28,000 smart devices and myriad gadgets of all shapes and sizes. Alexa, run the video.
This bot Vector isn't just cute, he can also order you a pizza. Fire up this Alexa oven and pair your smart cooked breakfast with a smart brewed coffee. And when you're feeling the creative juices flowing, you can always kick back with your smart instrument.
If you're a keyboard player, you know it can be really frustrating navigating your way through menus just to get to what you want. But with Alexa built in, there's a world of possibilities that open up. So for example, I can say, Alexa, ask Go Piano to select strings.
The tone has changed to strings.
Now with this particular device, there's a number of built-in commands that work offline. So for example, head-up display. And there we go, ready to roll.
Google Assistant may have been late to the party, but is trying to catch up. It's built into this alarm clock with internet phone. Hey Google, what's the weather? Or is around for a chat whilst you get ready.
Currently in Las Vegas, it's 57 and partly cloudy.
Meanwhile, Apple and to a lesser extent Microsoft are making a play for voice domination too, but Amazon and Google remain clear frontrunners. Not that you need to commit to just one.
With this Bluetooth headset from OV Loop, you can simply say OV Phone to activate either Siri or Google, and OV Alexa to activate its Amazon rival.
Play gorillas. But other voice-activated assistants are hoping to break new ground in specific environments. Chris is designed to work when in the car, even when you're offline, letting you control music and even navigation with your voice, and somewhat curiously with a few gestures too.
I enjoy sharing interesting facts.
And back in the home, some specialist devices are aiming to use voice function for slightly more human purposes. This is a social companion robot for the elderly. It combines Google's voice recognition technology and LEQ's own AI platform to be able to not just respond, but also initiate conversation.
We all need a little nudge from time to time.
It can actually provide not just reminders, but also goals for its users. So if somebody's been sitting down for too long, then motion sensors will alert it and may get them to get up and do a bit of exercise. It could also be helping them keep in contact with their family through the tablet element. Je m'appelle Lara.
I I will speak to myself.
But of course, these devices do have a way to go before they provide a totally seamless experience.
And now it's going to pull out one of the Bach
station from iHeartRadio.
Voice should be the most natural user interface that's out there versus touch or using a mouse or keyboard or anything else. And so making it conversational, like you and I are just having a conversation right now, that's how it should be with Alexa, right? We shouldn't have to keep using her name, or we should have ideas of knowing what we're about to say.
This is a gesture-controlled speaker, which works like this. The company behind it are hoping to install their technology in virtual assistants. And it's not just about being able to wake them up by tapping, it's also going to track how far away you are in the room so that the volume can be adjusted accordingly. A device's built-in speaker emits ultrasound waves and its microphone receives them, mapping where you are. The software acts on this information, maybe pausing or playing something you're watching or listening to, or in the case of a virtual assistant, turning heating or lighting on or off. But whilst there are ideas aplenty about how the future of voice could play out, for this year's CES, Google and Amazon certainly seem to be enjoying having the last word.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
In the future, we will talk to our devices, and they will talk back. And that means that developers need to think in a much more non-visual way.
When you glance at a screen, you can selectively absorb a lot of information and selectively pick out what's interesting and relevant to you. But when you're listening to a skill or a voice application, an action, you're forced to listen to whatever the skill is telling you. So it needs to get it right, and it needs to get it right every single time.
Jargon was one of 9 startups selected for Amazon's 13-week Alexa Accelerator program, which helped develop ideas that use voice and send them on the way towards more funding. Despite having 10,000 Alexa developers working inside Amazon, the company is also inviting in ideas from startups. From simple adaptations of home appliance control to work in an office environment, to much more complex speech recognition tasks like Voice It, which is working towards understanding people who have problems with their speech.
I love you.
A small company comes up with a great idea that inspires even our team to say, wow, we could really help this company by creating new APIs that they could take advantage of. An example would be, a company called Novel Effect that came into our first accelerator, and they built this really interesting service where you read a physical book to your kid typically, and their back end is listening to your reading, knows where you are in the book, and at certain points in time will play a sound effect.
Are you afraid of monsters?
So imagine you're reading a Harry Potter book, and at the right point there's storm effects that come on, right? And it's a magical experience.
And yet we're still only in the early days of speech recognition, and there are plenty of hurdles still to overcome.
We've made huge advances in voice control in a really short time, but just where are we on the speech recognition journey? Well, that's what Kate Russell has been looking at.
What does the internet sound like? No, that was 20 years ago. What does it sound like today?
I'm Siri.
I'm Alexa. I'm your Google Assistant.
Here to help.
I'm your Google
I'm
Assistant.
Siri. Here to help.
That's enough of that. But as you saw from the CES floor earlier, the age of the voice assistant is well and truly upon us. Around 1 in 10 UK homes already have a smart speaker, and if you're one of them, you might want to mute its microphone for the next 4 minutes.
More people now have mobile phones than have toilets. And of those people, 60% are already using voice to talk to their phone.
Experts predict that by next year, a third of all web browsing could be done without a screen.
In a world where 66% of us say they want their lives to be simpler, anything that removes friction just by removing buttons and just letting us talk to things is going to be attractive.
But a post-browser world raises an interesting question for all kinds of businesses. How will our customers find us? It's a head-scratcher for broadcasters like the BBC, because without an audience, we might as well all pack up and go home.
So voice platforms are both really, really exciting and really, really challenging. They're exciting because they're a new frictionless way to get audiences to your content. It's also a real challenge though. These other companies, the Amazons, the Googles, the Apples are coming in and trying to say, what does audio mean for our businesses? And we, as the broadcasters, need to think really, really carefully about how we work with those partners in order to make sure that we protect our business and do the right thing for audiences and don't end up killing radio by accident.
There's also the issue of search and discovery. For audiences to find content, it needs to rank highly in search results. If you type Brexit into a browser, you get a page of links to choose from.
When you say to Alexa, tell me about Brexit, she gets to choose, or more importantly, Amazon gets to choose which top result starts to get played out to you, which means it's a winner-takes-all environment.
One of the key players in today's smart speaker market, Google is known to use algorithms to float content higher up the list based on interests you've already expressed. So, how does Click get to the top of Google's list?
It's not our list, it's the user's list. That's what's important, right? Because once again, we are simply the distribution of the content that already has a huge audience. So there are certain players that you have to have. And then there's other times when there's just unique experiences out there that a partner has that we believe that the users really want. So recipes is another, where we said we have to make sure that we have the right recipe partners because that's a key use case for speakers. So those are the two axes, and I would say they're really ranked on how we think what the users want, and then also the kind of catalog and popularity of a lot of the content that they already have, which great is already established before we even start to think about the partnership.
So you're going to see the same kind of stuff over and over. But what if you want to watch something other than BBC Click? The serendipity of discovery is already under siege by recommendation engine code. Do we really want to get caught up in a filter bubble of just one result?
The platform owners really they know they need to work on discoverability. If you have either an Echo Show or a Google Home Hub which have screens on, you'll see that they're trying to suggest things for you to have all the time, and you can also look at the skills that you have enabled.
Useful. Anyone who has a smart speaker will know how hard it is to remember all those skills and actions and exactly what you have to say to use them. It can feel more like speaking to a truculent 2-year-old than an intelligent machine. But there are opportunities too.
We are experimenting as a research company with using speakers to ask you questions. So in the morning, Alexa might say to you, hello, would you like to answer some questions about breakfast cereals today? I'll give you a £20 Amazon voucher, and then that might be much easier than me sending you an email and you clicking on it and then answering some questions on your phone.
Some of you will be horrified by the prospect of a world full of talking technology. We all saw what happened with Hal, right?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
A likely story. But for the rest of us, voice promises to improve our relationship with technology. Eventually.
And that's it from Seattle, at least for now. Don't forget you can follow us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and Twitter, where we live at BBC Click. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.